Okay, also need to speed down here because we have some issues with our sound. Let's get started. This program will be in English, so that this can actually has some English program aside from Go. So, okay, guys, this is a definitive discussion about Torment, and we welcome everybody here to join us in discussion. We are going to do a little presentation here, and feel free to hop in if you have anything to say, ask, or anything. So, I give the full control of slides to Nita here, and let's just do a little bit introduction first for myself. I'm Sandi, one of the guys who organizes this con, and this is my second program here in Tracon aside from RPG show. So, sorry, it's I have done too much program for 2 years now, so please bear me.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Jukka Särkijärvi. You may also remember me from such program items as RPG show. And I'm also one of the guys who organized this convention, sort of. As a word of warning, we will be spoiling this game.
Heavily.
A lot.
So, if you have troubles, just do exactly that. Okay, but let's get started here.
How does it work?
Plus the arrow to the right. Oh.
Yeah, so to begin with, in case someone isn't conversant in role-playing game history, but we'll go over what this game is, where it came from. Planescape Torment was released in 1999. It was programmed by the legendary Black Isle Studios and released by Interplay Entertainment. It was set in the legendary, also, Planescape setting for the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game, which was licensed from TSR Inc.
Similar labels being Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, etc. Sorry. So similar titles being Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, etc.
Yeah, which used, for example, the same engine. And in the late 90s and early 2000s, they made a lot of these Dungeons & Dragons licensed games. After that, there were the Neverwinter Nights games, and then at some point they made Daggerdale, and I think that's the end of the story.
Yeah. Basically, what you are seeing here, guys, this is a huge, a graveyard for RPG, kind of. Because Black Isle Studio was kind of exiled, as we all know nowadays. Interplay Entertainment was almost bankrupted, and the Torment, although it did provide some income to the company, it wasn't so much financial success.
Yeah, you often hear it said online that Torment lost money, which is not exactly true, but.
Yeah, it didn't make much either.
Yeah. Not too successful, too difficult, too hard to approach. I'll admit the box cover was terribly ugly.
Yeah, I think that personally, I think that the time wasn't right for the game, but it set a really nice basis for what we nowadays know a deep level RPGs.
Also, the bald fellow in the front had a comment.
Oh yeah, that after that, the fantasy setting died, and then only BioWare went to do Star Wars and Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Went more into the sci-fi direction.
Yeah, but BioWare had very little to do with this title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, at the time when the game was released, they'd stopped making the Planescape setting for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons itself was discontinued, I think, a year later. TSR Inc. had already gone bankrupt by the time this was released and had been bought by Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, it's a graveyard. and it was already a graveyard. It was a game born under unlucky stars.
So this is first room of the game here, and what we can see it's a pre-industrial, but still bit industrial setting. This is a mortuary. We have some poker zombies going around. Our main character, the protagonist, nameless one, with his friend, Flying Skull Morte. This is where it all begins, and this first scenery basically kills 90% of all players to death with boredom. Because it's a really, really, really kind of long step from a mortuary to the actual Torment game.
And that's like the Black Isle curse.
Yeah.
I've heard of so many people like quitting Fallout 2 due to the temple.
Yeah.
trials.
Yeah. So.
Damn temple.
Yeah. So, as a good rule, when these guys make games, try to get rid of the first 2 levels first. Then it should then the game actually begins.
I think Baldur's Gate 2 is probably the worst with Iron Dungeon.
Yeah.
It's so long.
Yeah.
This is a good example of the game's aversion to cliché, though. In Baldur's Gate and I think both Fallout games, the first Fallout games, you start off by fighting rats.
Yep.
In Planescape Torment, the rats are a mid-level opponent, and they'll kick your ass.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting how it actually like isn't trying to get the player used to the combat mechanics, but instead it's just like running around like hell, talking to everyone and trying to keep track of things. So it's, even though it is a very slow start, it's quite different from the other Black Isle stuff.
Okay, and just about the visual things here, you can, as you can examine, it's this is how the game looks like, the interface, and it's been upgraded with late coming upgrades that make it high resolution, fixes some things. Actually, Torment is a really good game. If you want to get it, go to the goodoldgames.com and grab it over there, and then go to the fan sites and get all the fan-made patches to it. But it's it actually makes a really nice playable game when it's patched correctly.
Even by today's standards.
The good old game version actually comes with the high resolution patch, I think. At least the one that makes it playable on modern computers.
Yeah, that's true, but it doesn't include the fan-made patches that actually made some interface tweaks. Like, there are some items in this game that can't be, you can't touch them if you don't know the exact pixel location. And especially if you apply the high-resolution patch, this comes probably like impossible task to do in the game. So you're going to miss like 1/4 of the content if you don't want those precious items that get you to the another planes.
I know I've played this game twice with one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by now, some of you must be wondering why exactly are we wasting your time with a presentation about the game that made not very much money over 15 years ago.
Actually, no. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, this game, it changed the way, at least it changed my way of playing role-playing games in general. It introduced what is dialogue and what's the good story.
Well, yeah, and for one thing, it's very different from your standard Tolkienian high fantasy. There's no elves, there's no dwarves, there's no hobbits. There's, I think, a single sword in the game. There are no bows, and there's no ocean to the west. It either subverts or avoids pretty much every high fantasy cliché that had been established over the past 30 years.
And if it uses them, it really makes great pranks about them.
Yeah, there's that one scene where you go to the in the hive when there's an old woman, and when you do as a role-playing game character does and ask her about your diary, I think it was at that point. She goes on a terribly long tirade about what was it?
What was that?
About how adventurers are always asking about
Yeah, that one.
asking about things that the person asked should have no knowledge of, will have no knowledge of, will have never heard of.
Yeah, basically, there's a prank about the typical NPCs, and that Foreman is cursing about those idiots that come to him, to her. Those idiots would come to her and ask about impossible questions about this and that quest. It actually kind of tries to push the player to play more, add some immersion to the role-playing game, role-playing itself.
I think Fallout 2 had one of those where you can talk to some character and then your character can have a dialogue line that my name is Matias and my hobby is going to people's houses and taking everything off their shelves. So I really like the ironic touch they have.
Yeah, there's lots of irony there and sarcasm. So that's about that part. Then, what we already told you, this game introduces what is plot, what is character, what is deafness, and what's dialogue. It's a really immense amount of the game content is about dialogue, about the characters, about the plot.
I must say.
Yep.
When I used to play role-playing games, I usually go for stuff with like, I'm gonna be like this guy who tells what the way of these problems, you know,
Yeah.
plots, diplomacy, all that.
Yeah, well, you do a lot of that in Torment.
Yeah, that's why I love this game. It's just like, you could actually talk so much, you could be like, well, I'm gonna stop you now.
Yeah, actually, what I would like to have, if there were extension to this game, it would be include some OCR that would be read all those dialogue for me, as my eyes got dizzy when I got through the game.
It's a book, not a game.
Yeah, it's a book.
It has 3 combats that you cannot skip, and that includes the zone where you have to kill at the beginning.
2 actually. There's a trick for the third one.
You can skip the fires.
Uh,
So now you can skip Rabble.
yeah, no, just casted that, but yeah, no, you can skip that.
Yeah, and not that you can actually skip the fight. You can skip the fight for the final boss.
Also, skipping the fights is usually preferable to using the combat system. Unfortunately, the interface there isn't very good.
Yep. So.
This is an interesting one. In most computer role-playing games, or things that brand themselves as computer role-playing games without actually having anything to do with role-playing games like Diablo, your character is developed pretty much entirely on the character sheet. Every now and then, once you've killed enough orcs, you level, and then you click points wherever. In Torment, by contrast, your character is developed by the choices you make in the game. These define your alignment, these define the character class that you take.
Yes, you actually changed from being a fighter to become a mage by talking to your friend about it. Or a nice old hack there is around that runs some stupid errands and gives you fine dialogue.
And we still don't see a great deal of this in games. There are a few, but actually I think Grand Theft Auto San Andreas has the best example. Where you bulk up your character's muscles by going to the gym, which is terribly boring.
So, let's move on a bit. So, about the story. There's a lot of it. And it kind of creeps you out at some points. It takes you if you have at a really early start in the game, you actually get some skins that get so deep that you actually think that, okay, is the game going to be end soon? No, it won't. it will get going and going, and you are just you just find out, okay, I was just in the third level of this hell now, and I must dwell deeper and deeper and deeper here, and it's getting there. But the game is long, the story is long. It's a really nice experience because it just throws you some stuff. Then it kind of takes you back to the places you were, and you found out that oh, I see. This actually what I saw there actually links to this one, and this go alone. Like a good spoiler here. Okay, spoiler alert given. As a good example, if you got one of their companions has a kind of disc that is a holy book of their philosophy, and what's the twist here is that our protagonist has actually added some things to it, and well, you kind of find out that out because their protagonist is not, he does not remember who he is. He's done this as a memento man on one of his other lives, and then the whole thing kind of comes up at some point, and then well, the dialogue that follows is really interesting.
Yeah, took me 3 playthroughs to find that out.
Okay. So, imagine that you are awake with a horrible headache from a mortuary, having no idea of who you are, and you are covered with scars and tattoos, and there's a freaking skull flying to you, and it's calling you Chief. The game starts like that. Yeah.
You don't remember who you are. You don't remember where you came from, why you're in the mortuary. Actually, the game is kind of like the movie Hangover if it had been written as a tragedy by Charles Dickens of the Lord of the Rings fame. And most of the game you spend trying to find out what happened.
Yeah, and immortality. So basically, what's going on is that you have died. You have, well, awoken because you can't die. You can't die, and it's a repeating theme in a game that there's a lot of puzzles that you can actually solve by just killing yourself and waking up in a different location. It's a real thing, but the one that the protagonist is having here is that now and then, once in time, he just lost it. He lost who he is. The new personality is born, the same body. He retains some of his abilities and stuff like that. Some martial memories, some affection to certain things like magic. But the thing is that this person has been going this in a cycle that's been probably going on for thousands of years already, and there's been lots of incarnations, the same body committing atrocities and good things too, because every person is a bit different. There are maniacs, there are murderers, there are saints, all in the same guy. There's lots of history written about this guy, and it's all of them. All of these personalities been once been this person, and the game here finally focuses the thing that you are actually really a bit tired about doing all that and continuing that existence.
So your goal is to die.
Yes. This is the thing. You can't die, but you want to.
Actually, there's 2 ways you can die.
Sorry?
There are 2 ways you can actually get yourself killed in the game.
Yep.
Piss off the lady and piss off the one mage guy whose name I can't remember.
Yep.
That's the reason I've done a game over.
Is it kind of a speed run if you just piss off the lady very early on?
Yeah.
And you can also kill yourself, if I recall right.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's
Part of Solid Snake.
Yeah. But the point is that. But that's kind of the thing that that's not the idea of the game is not actually well, it is part of this is that you find your final data, of course, but the other point is that your character grows to the point, it grows as a person to the point where he wants to die, and he wants to die so badly that he wants to do it the right way and not just pissing off the rival.
Not so much wanting to die as much as it's wanting to regain your mortality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, regaining to mortality is the thing, not dying.
I think the best thing about the setting is that it's one of the very rare cases of a role-playing game where the quest is completely selfish. Like, it's something for the character himself, and while doing it, he doesn't actually end up saving the rest of the world.
Yeah, we are going to talk about that really soon. Okay.
Well, actually, the way the immortality thing works is that every time you die and come back, someone else dies in your stead. So that does kind of upset the balance of the planes.
Yeah, this whole thing is that you have committed something that actually have set up the, well, you have done something that the world itself wants to fix. And that's the one thing, the world is against you in a really metaphysical sense.
And boy, what a world it is.
Yeah. So, what we have here, what makes the game really great is about its places, teams, people, characters. It's just that, of course, I mentioned already. I'm going to mention this word very many times here about the dialogue. But really, the world itself, whoa, Planescape. It's a wonderful world. It's an epic level world. It creates itself kind of the story. The Planescape itself, it's a multi-plane thingy. You have of these separate worlds that are in a multiversum, and then the game centers to the place where all these different planes kind of lapse each other, and the place where this happens is Sigil, the center of the planes, the city, and there are lots of portals there that get you to other places. Of course, every good ADD game gets you to the Vader. The Vader is a really nice place to be, to a lawful hell. And, well, one of the, and spoiler alert again, of the game about the Sigil is that the Sigil itself is alive. It's an entity. The city, basically at one point, your character will enter up into a valley that is kind of having a struggle against the Ravel's foggers that try to keep it in place. But you, of course, end up helping this entity, and as a result, you will see that there's a new suburban area growing up. The towers will rise, and everybody, what the fuck happened? The Sigil's growed up.
An alley gives birth.
Yeah. Yeah, and what then goes on? We are having the guilt and regret, which you already mentioned here. So you are actually really tired about your life, and all your lives actually you have to commit some serious atrocities. There are lots of history written about this maniac ruler who slaughtered his people and stuff, and you find out that's actually you. And
the thing about the game, if you find out that someone did something terrible sometime in the past, at any point in the past,
at any plane,
world, it was you. You did it.
Yeah, you were Hitler.
Well, probably not him.
Yeah,
Okay.
how to spoil Planescape Torment in 4 words? You're practically Hitler. No, that was 3.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah, you were all evil things that has been in existence, and yeah, well, but you've been always.
Your first incarnate never do. It's never told in the game. It's supposed to be so terrible, and no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Considering what of your other incarnations have done.
Yeah, but this is a really nice thing that if you are actually one of your incarnates being the most evil ruler of all, and then your other one has been a great prophet or saint or something. So there's lots of things you have done, but when you find out these things out, when you actually are getting figure out who you are, okay, whatever you have been doing, you actually figure out that you are not only your body is kind of struggling about its existence, you are really scarred and stuff, but your mind is so broken.
And considering that the stuff that we do find out that you did, such as one of the first characters you encounter in the mortuary being your former lover, whom you abused and led to her death, all for your own gain. I don't want to know what's so terrible that it can't be told. I don't want to know what else the character did.
Yep, go on.
I'll say, when I first played the game about years and years ago, that scene was like, what is this? What have I done to this poor person? That just like, it drove me into the game like I wanted to know and I didn't want to know at all. And it was the beginning of the great mystery. It was, I don't know, I can say, but that just hooked me in.
That's the one where they actually experience from her point of view. There's one more dramatic in any game.
Yeah.
You do not cry while reading it.
Yeah.
There's something broken.
Yeah, well, yeah, and
If you can play Planescape as an evil, with the evil options, you are don't cringe and you are psychopath. Evil in this game is ridiculous. It's not copying evil, it's just methodical, abusive evil.
been there, done that. But hey, guys, let's move on. If we have to do something that was, what's about our this presentation here? We are asking a question: what can change the nature of the game? And by asking that, we are actually asking what is the impact that the Torment made to us, at least to me, that changed my way of playing role-playing games in general. Okay, and well, I have been saying it's about dialogue, it's about character, about depth of this whole game here, the story. But one of those things is that, well, let's take an example here. I'm not the only one that's been touched by Torment. One of my friends, well, he's not having easy in his life, and he's been ended up to a mental asylum like twice now. And the second time he went there and was in his psychosis phase. Well, his father was asked him, really worried he was about his son, how are you doing? How can you handle that? And well, my friend answered him, endure, in enduring grow strong. And that's how the game moves you. Those words were one of our my favorite character, the companion of the nameless one, the protagonist, Tracon. He's a Gitcherai. Gitcherais are people who live in the plane of limbo, in a chaos. That's a chaos plane. They've been shaping it with their minds, and they have really strong philosophical, very strong philosophical kind of religion shape to it's a kind of Confucianist thing here, and it's a really touching. It's a really touching story in this game about when you find out about Tracon's past and his struggle with his fate and all that.
And the terrible things you did to him.
And yeah, and the terrible things that you basically manipulated his religion in a point to kind of manipulate the man himself to be more useful for you. Yeah.
It's an interesting running theme. Pretty much everyone you meet or who follows you, except for Fall from Grace.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have our guest of honor here, Ross Watson. And if I could ask, would you, Ross, come here and take a seat?
Sure.
Please.
Thank you.
We were actually just talking about the depth of this game and the characters, and I give them this endure thing I told you about. So, do you have anything to add about about how this game actually has been changing the ways that people play role-playing games by its. I give an example that with the Dagon's depth just made me realize that what's the importance of a good story and good character in general.
Well, I think that no matter how bizarre the game of Torment might seem, it's really about the human condition. And that's what I learned about it and applied to role-playing games, is that you can take these really strange, and no matter how strange your creative thought might be, you can find a way to make that meaningful.
Yeah, and I would find that with that, you actually are kind of learning about how to do role playing, how to make kind of a campaign for your folks and stuff. And well, aside of course giving you some real life good hints about not to do and how to think. But that comes with the cynicism and sarcasm that's included in the game, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the core question of Torment is how do you change the nature of a man? And they answer that in many ways throughout the game. And of course, the final answer I think they give is belief, right? Isn't that correct, that the last answer they give for that is belief is the thing that changes a man? But each one of those answers was cool because it made you think about what it takes to change ourselves. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to give you that so it won't be too loud. The sound won't go to all microphones together. Okay. Anyways, with the second game, I think they are actually the second game is going to have something about legacies and stuff, as far as I know. So, actually, Ross, I was going to ask. I heard that you are actually kind of a friend of the guys who are developers the game. Have you been hearing about them? Anything about their new project?
I'm kind of a hero worshiper, I guess you might think. But I've managed to meet and talk to Chris Avallone and Colin McComb, who are two of the creators of Torment, and Tim Donnelly, who was one of the art directors on it. And of course, when I met them, one of the first things I said is, "I love Torment." Oh, because it is such a great game. And I got a chance to interview Colin a little bit about it on my blog, and you find out some interesting things from those guys, and to hear them reminisce about it, they definitely consider it a special game in their history. Thank you.
Okay, here we have a picture from the game again, which includes some characters. So Jukka, could you give us some introduction?
Yeah. Well, here we have a good selection of the characters' companions. I think pretty much all of the most interesting ones are represented at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, well, all those characters are really interesting. So let's just talk about this, about what we have here on the screen.
Yeah, the one with the purple background, I think she's one of the most interesting ones, apart from Tracon, who we went over already. That's Fall from Grace, a succubus, what you would call a sex demon, except that because of reasons, which are actually, I think, never given in the game, she has become celibate and renounced evil and renounced chaos and is now running...
There's, I think, a lot of that story that's untold. I think it's mostly implied rather than explicitly said. But yeah, I think they're both right. So.
And it was probably you who sold her.
Yeah, but
that's weird.
There's a piece that there is a that's kind of implied that there was something that pushed.
Suffice to say, she's a very mysterious character.
Yeah. And now she is in Sigil, running the brothel of slaking intellectual lusts, where you can go and play chess or have logical arguments or
Debate philosophy.
or insult matches with the beautiful women.
Yes, the insult matches are the best.
Kiss my ass. I don't have a mouth large enough.
Okay, so, well, the other ones here, there's Ignus, the most right one, and the Flaming Man over here, which kind of, well, you kind of had a real, he has a story that includes his lover and your previous incarnation and setting him on fire and then the all mages of Siegel to try to contain him in a plane of fire so he won't kill everyone on sight because he's become a bit mad and so on.
But is it just me, or did anyone else feel that like the evil characters really weren't as well developed as the main ones? Because there was that armor.
Valor.
Valor's not evil.
He's lawful neutral.
Oh, okay.
He's about justice, whether and justice is not evil or good.
Yeah, justice about vengeance.
There's no evil character in the game. I mean, Ignis is just insane. He's not evil, and Valor is just pure, justice with no morality whatsoever.
That's Valor. You actually, after you have played Torment, and now if you go to play the games that's made like previous 10 years, and the new, especially the new ones, you come to see there are lots of character types taken from the Torment. Lots of them.
Well, I guess it might be also a bit harder to develop, of course, the characters that come into the game later.
Yeah, but you can clearly see there's Torment has been influenced, especially the game developers too.
Oh yeah, no question.
Yeah, and it's been an interesting thing about the alignments. Usually, you see the Dungeons & Dragons 9-point alignment system as being rather flat and one-dimensional thing, that a one-note definition of characters. But Planescape and the setting and the Torment, it's the game. They both explore the ways that the people of the same alignment can be very different. For example, Valor and Fall from Grace are both lawful neutral, but they are as night and day. I think this is one of the strengths of Planescape. It takes as a setting the Dungeons & Dragons 9-point alignment system and explores the ways in and it creates a world where this makes sense as an objective alignment system. The end result is weird as all hell, but it works.
Yeah, it's a fantasy adventure that has never been seen before, and I very rarely seen since. Just how different it was from your typical dungeon crawl, kill the bad guy who threatens to destroy the world, that kind of thing.
But we will see it again, because currently there's not one but two different spiritual sequels in the works for Planescape Torment.
Yeah, kind of reboots. They call them.
Neither of them use the Planescape setting. Neither of them use the Dungeons & Dragons rule set. But there's first Project Eternity from Obsidian Entertainment. The project lead is Chris Avallone, who was, I believe, the lead designer of Torment.
Yes.
Chris is also doing the second one.
Yeah.
I am a backer on this project. It's going to be awesome.
Me too. Yeah, it raised nearly $9 million on Kickstarter and broke the record for the highest grossing or raising computer game project on Kickstarter. And it's supposed to come out next year. Hopefully it will. I found very little information on it.
Yeah, that sounds scary.
Yeah. And it was the record holder until this one broke it. Tides of Numenera by Exile Entertainment should come out in 2015. and raised over $9 million, plus, 400,000 more through PayPal?
Yeah, actually 300,000 through PayPal. And then guys who started the Kickstarter decided, oh, well, we promised to have this 200,000 to cover all those guys who paid away, but then no payments get paid, so they just donated that 200,000 on top of that.
I'm a backer of this one,
It's
too.
just money. Me
So
too.
am I. So spread the word, Torment is coming back. It's going to be great.
And the lead designers on this one are Colin McComb and Monty Cook, who were also worked on the original Planescape setting. And actually, the setting for this one is from Monty Cook's new role-playing game, Numenera. It was released at Gen Con, I think, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago?
Yes. I don't really know much about it, honestly, or I'd say more.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's a really, really storytelling perspective game. So I think and really, well, I don't think we are going to have any trouble about having no twist in that world.
Well, I think you should all be on the lookout for Ravel Puzzlewell, because she has a habit of turning up in other games besides Planescape, Torment. And I imagine we'll see a version of her in probably both of those, or at least I'm going to be keeping my eyes out for her.
Yeah, Mitya?
Yeah, I'd say Numenera will probably be more of a spiritual successor, while as Project Eternity will be more of a sort of classic role-playing game with an emphasis on storytelling.
The setting is completely different from Planescape, so I'm not really sure how they
Yeah, well, not in a different world, but like
a lot of
in a
Planescape
thematics.
are basically the velocity work because the setting works. Like stuff like how belief can shape the reality and stuff like that. Are like big part of Planescape
Yeah.
setting.
The key things that are common with the original game,
Yeah.
the key elements, although the names of the places, the way the things works are a bit different, but so it's not too bad.
I don't be worried about what I usually, but all what I've heard of the Monty Cook's Numenera setting, I haven't heard that many good things about it.
Yeah, that's kind of, at least we can hope it's going to be good, but we haven't seen it ourselves yet, so.
You haven't the game yet, so
Yeah.
but maybe the base is probably
I thought the setting was kind of cool.
Yeah, well, let's see it first and then.
Well, it's just exciting that after this long, we are getting something, that is related to Torment, because, I mean, it's been out for how long? 15, yeah, a really long time, and I was just like desiring something so much like it that I, would just about give up a kidney.
And finally, we have Kickstarter, which makes it commercially viable.
Yeah. The only thing that came close to this, I thought, was Arcanum.
Yeah.
That was excellent.
Yeah, it was good. It wasn't quite as good as Torment, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's got some.
It's really original as well.
Yeah, it was different, yeah.
Yeah, also for a gotten gem of the past.
Yeah, for real.
Also get the fan patches and stuff like that.
Clearly, we need a Kickstarter for a new Arcanum as well.
Yeah, the character creation of Arcanum was so complex that I actually gave up.
Guys, we have only like a minute left, so let's wrap this thing up here. So, what can change the nature of the game? So Russ, did Torment change the way you played your games?
Absolutely. I would not be the designer I am today without the impact that Torment made on me.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be here without Torment, I would say.
I became a literature student because of Torment.
Thank you.